So I'm Kevin, and I'm presenting Ponder today. If you weren't aware, it's a pain in the ass to build the web backend for a crypto app. What do I mean by crypto app? Next slide. There is this myth of a crypto app where you have a front end and you have smart contracts, and they are able to interact, and then that's your entire stack. But this is indeed a myth. Next slide. In reality, today you need you need more backend web services to support your app. This includes indexing, authentication, and the state of affairs today is that you end up stitching together a lot of out-of-the-box APIs on your backend, and you still need a custom web server and a SQL database. And so, next slide, you end up with this kind of circle of pain, and you can ask crypto developers about this, and I assure you that they'll tell you that this is not a fun part of the stack to build in. It's prone to errors, and soon enough, you kind of reinvented the traditional web development backend with the added complexity of being adjacent to a blockchain. The state of the art in front end and smart contracts developer tools in crypto has gotten way better in the past few years, but this part of the stack still kind of remains unacknowledged and neglected. Next slide. And so with Ponder, Ponder is a backend framework for crypto apps. And the idea behind it is that it acknowledges that to build rich experiences in crypto, you need a backend. And rather than kind of neglect it, Ponder makes it delightful to build at this layer of the stack, kind of leans into it. In order to make it delightful, we've kind of borrowed ideas from modern web development, like hot reloading, type safety, focus on the local development experience. And the ultimate goal with Ponder is to kind of create this new pattern of building crypto apps where rather than building your protocol, building your front end and just kind of adding APIs out of the box as needed on the back end, the backend is really kind of a first-class component of your stack. And we kind of believe that with this pattern, you can build richer experiences and iterate more quickly. Next slide. So Ponder has been open source from the very first commit. And I think this has been kind of a unique advantage for Ponder. There's this growing community of contributors and users that offer feedback and ideas. And really all of Ponder's growth to date has come from happy users who are just excited enough about Ponder to kind of share it out publicly. So kind of seeing those that open source growth loop in action, and it's been working quite well. Next slide. So that's me. My one ask, we're wrapping up here shortly, is that we are hiring. We're looking for founding engineers to join on the product and platform side. There's a bunch of incredibly exciting work to be done. And so if you know any talented engineers that might be a good fit here, we would love to be introduced. Next slide. So that's it. We can move on to Q&A, and there's some of my links.
Amazing. Let me stop sharing. Great. Thanks, Kevin. Let's go straight into Q&A. So Parker asked, what is your monetization strategy?
Sure. So yeah, I didn't touch on it in the presentation, but we're building a cloud platform for hosting Ponder apps. You can kind of think about this analogous to Vercel. So Vercel has built Next.js, this open source framework for the web, and they have their cloud platform, which has proven to be very popular. And so the idea with Ponder is that there are certain, kind of developer experience boosts that you can get by building a cloud platform specifically for Ponder apps, especially with how Ponder kind of communicates with the blockchain. And so we're working on that, and the experience will be kind of like this serverless, like connect your GitHub repository, click deploy, and that's it. And so that's the business.
Great, thanks. Next question is, have early users used Ponder in any unexpected or surprising ways? How have they shaped your product?
Yeah, for sure. So today, Ponder kind of solves this very specific problem, which is you want to build a GraphQL API for EVM smart contracts. It will grow soon to kind of encompass more of the backend, but today that was the idea. Someone used Ponder to generate an CSV of their trades and then used it for their taxes, which I told them definitely don't do that. I was like, that's not what this is for. But they of course they told me after the fact, and they were like, Ponder was great for my taxes. And I was like, oh boy. So that was definitely the most unexpected use so far.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
And next question, what needs do Ponder meet for indie developers that aren't met by existing players such as Alchemy, QuickNode, etc.?
Yeah, so this I kind of briefly touched on it, but it's kind of just a slightly different paradigm. Those providers that you mentioned, they attempt to offer an out of the box API for every possible use case or many use cases. But the problem is that developers are still left stitching together all of these APIs. And in order to build like a valuable crypto app that really does something interesting, you almost always end up needing to write custom backend logic. And so you have to build a web server and you need a database. And so Ponder solves that problem. And you can still kind of stitch together providers with Ponder if you like. But Ponder aims to be kind of the command center for all of this backend logic. Because right now developers just don't have any good patterns. A lot of the knowledge around this part of the stack is kind of institutional and exists at some of the bigger crypto companies. But if you're just getting started, there's not a lot of guidance here. So that's the problem that Ponder aims to solve.
Great. Why start with GraphQL?
No good reason, really. Subgraphs popularized GraphQL in this part of this corner of the development world, and so that's where we started. But very soon, you'll be able to build whatever kind of API and customize the API layer as you'd like.
Got it. 2 more questions. First one, any plans for a decentralized version like Subgraph?
So not in the near term. I think that the trade-off that you make by attempting to decentralize this layer of the stack is at the moment not really, the juice is not worth the squeeze. But I wouldn't rule it out.
And we have time for one more question. Praneeth asks, what are the immediate value add services for the cloud platform?
Sure. So, right now, most Ponder users host their Ponder app on one of these like Heroku sort of successors like Railway or Render. You can host it anywhere that can run Node.js, but ultimately you still need like an Alchemy like RPC URL when you self-host. And with the Ponder Cloud Platform, we'll be able to bundle in a lot of these services so that users can kind of have a relationship with just one cloud provider. And there's also some cost economies of scale that we can reach by doing that. So ideally, it'll be cheaper and faster and a much better developer experience than self-hosting.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Kevin. That was fantastic.